Hi, Dr. Tom here, and I'm here with a very, very amazing human being right now. This is Olie Johannsen of Sweden, and this gentleman is one of the world's leading researchers on EMF phenomena. So this gentleman has been committing his personal professional efforts to research in this field for over 40 years. So we are at the first conference on EMF toxicity for MDs ever to occur in the United States. And I came here to inform myself, and here this gentleman stood up at the opening and gave essentially 40 years history of his research. So, Dr. Johansen, if you could summarize all of that work of your lifetime in a simple way for the lay public, what would you say?
Well, that is of course quite impossible.
Impossible.
Yes, and we have done so many things. But one group which this conference focused around are people that have a functional disability or impairment, as we say in Sweden, called electrohypersensitivity. And I've dealt quite a lot with that issue for the last 30 years, or even up to 35 years.
Now, I would say that in my clinical practice of medicine, every month or so, someone comes in and they say, every time I use my cell phone, my ear starts hurting.
Yeah.
Or if I walk into a building that has a whole lot of fluorescent lights, I start to get palpitations.
Yeah.
I had one patient who said, when I drive a certain road, I actually have different episodes of all these symptoms in my body, and I've been able to correlate that with where the cell phone towers are on that particular road.
Yeah.
When I hear stuff like that, I have to believe what they're saying.
Of course, yeah.
And so you're saying that based upon your science, you know this scientifically to be a true human phenomenon.
It is a phenomenon indeed, and you should remember that the exposure levels we are talking about, they are to be expressed in terms as colossal, biblical, astronomical, enormously high levels. But since it's invisible, we don't see it and we don't think about it. But compared to natural background, it's just overwhelming. And it would be surprising if it didn't give a mark somewhere. And when you look in the scientific literature, there are tens of thousands of peer-reviewed scientific studies that clearly show effects at the molecular level, the cellular level, tissue, organ, animal level, plant level, bacterial level, and whatever. And so there is an enormous wealth of papers clearly pointing to that we are risking quite a number of different species, including the human one. And hopefully I am wrong and all these papers are wrong, but the statistic probability for that is of course very, 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 very small, you know.
Yeah. So this is not only a threat or danger to humans, but to all life.
Yeah, exactly, including bacteria and plants, etc. So they are all potentially at jeopardy now, and for each day, I would say, there is yet 1, 2, 3 papers added to this avalanche of knowledge. And it's more surprising that our health authorities, radiation protection authorities, parliaments, governments, and so on, that they don't do anything. They hardly even listen to this. And for me, that is, of course, enigmatic, because after all, I think most of them, they do have family members, children, maybe pets, dogs, cats, whatever, which they normally would care for. But now they turn a blind eye to this.
Now, one of the things that came to light this weekend was that largely because of your efforts and your persistence in this field, Sweden has taken some very, very big steps, unlike any other country on the planet.
Yes.
Say a few words, please.
Well, since the year 2000, it's nearly 20 years ago, the government decided to recognize electrohypersensitivity as a handicap, we used to say, and then it was changed into disability, and nowadays we say functional impairment. And also the Nordic Council of Ministers recognized the symptoms in the International Code of Diagnoses. So that gave people with electrohypersensitivity the largest legal umbrella or protection that you can think of. And it actually also eased a lot of the discussions that were pretty harsh before that, and people were questioned, etc. But suddenly they came to the right barn, sort of, and that definitely put a lot of oil on the waves, and that was good for the entire discussion. And nowadays, people with electrohypersensitivity in Sweden, they have their own handicap organization, which is part of the riding organization of handicaps in Sweden. They get a governmental subsidy, and if they have problems, apart from symptoms such as back pain or headache, they would not visit a doctor, but a civil servant at the municipality, and this civil servant has a special Swedish name, Funktionshindersombudsman, meaning that it's a person that will make sure that your life and your person will be within an equal society. You should live an equal life within an equal society, which is taken from the UN Convention regarding the Special Human Rights Act for people with functional impairments. So you should be at the very same level as anyone else, and the way to do that is to engage into accessibility measures such as low radiation housing, workplaces. You can get an electrosanitized car, etc.
So this is where it's interesting for us to try to make some analogies.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have an invisible threat.
Yeah.
And it would be easy for me to imagine that, say, my next door neighbor is burning trash in their backyard, and the wind sometimes blows the smoke away from my house.
Yeah.
Sometimes it blows into the open windows of my house,
Yes,
and I
yes.
start to cough.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's just a aggravation.
Yeah.
But if they're burning something that is toxic to my body, now that phenomenon is threatening me, it's threatening my children, it's threatening my mother who may be living in my house.
Yes. Yeah.
And correct me if this analogy is off base, but
No, it's not off base at all. It's a very interesting question you bring up, because I think around the corner more and more people will start asking, is it really all right for your neighbor to burn, as you say, like a Wi-Fi router, the exposures from it hitting you and you being electrohypersensitive, or even worse, in the long-term run, at this conference we talked about neurological diseases, cancer, fertility issues, and so on,
and behavioral, and
even learning and memory.
I can claim to be addicted at times
and
to
learning
my
and
phone.
memory problems and so on. Yes.
So that analogy is a valid analogy in your mind. So now if we talk about, let's say we can't get away from the smoke. Smoke is burning is the only way of getting rid of the trash.
Yeah.
So, and the wind is going to be blowing different ways.
Yeah.
So all of society will develop some asthma.
Yeah.
So now everyone needs a disabled placard issued by their doctor, or in Sweden's case, by a civil servant, in order to get the preferred parking space.
Yeah.
But so many people work on this technology.
Yeah.
So in Sweden, they have special work sites and public transportation and cars that are electrically sterilized, so to speak.
Well, they don't have that, so there is a lot more that could be done in Sweden. And don't forget that such accessibility measures, and that has been proven over and over again for other disabilities, the numerically big group is everyone. Because if we remove the electromagnetic fields through distance and or shielding, maybe then all the others, the people without this functional impairment, will not get cancer, will not have learning issues in school, will not have, and so on,
Well, this is so mind-boggling, and I think that you said it well. This is gargantuan.
It is.
This is of
but
biblical
every
proportions.
coin has an upside too, and the company or the companies that will realize this first and come up with what I call the green tomorrow's human and environmental friendly technology will be able to just sell all these gadgets once again and become very wealthy, of course. So,
Yeah.
Ole, I'm just going to get my vehicle now,
Okay.
and then I'll come down.
yeah.
Okay, well, I want to, first of all, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your dedication and commitment to all
Thank
this
you.
work. I want to thank you for helping us understand this, and it's my dear hope that you all can join me in wrapping our brains around this new perspective and then taking action that would be appropriate for not only ourselves but our children and the most vulnerable parts of society and for all of the other parts of nature that we so much enjoy.
Indeed, and never forget that in Sweden, a person with electrohypersensitivity will not be a patient, but a person,
But a person.
a
Yes.
citizen. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dr. Johansen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.